Here we are at the beginning of 2026 and I have a couple of targets and goals in mind for my reading. I did put out a goals video at the end of last year, but when it came to reading, that was more to do with genres and general habits rather than specific books. Because I didn't do a 10 before the end in December, I am going to make this list purely books that are already out. Obviously there are books that I'm really excited about that are coming out in 2026, but these are the priorities that have been with me and that I really want to get to before this year is out. The first couple are some series where I am so close to either finishing the series or catching up with the current release that I can almost taste it. The first is Matt Dinniman's Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I absolutely fell in love with these books last year. I really never thought that a lit RPG story would be for me. I'm not a gamer, so I don't have that connection to it. I tend not to like humorous stories for some reason, and sci-fi is something I generally struggle with. So all of the alien aspects, I thought again I wouldn't enjoy. But honestly, I have been so hooked on this series. I love it. I love the world building. I love Carl and Donut and our whole host of characters that come along with them each book. And I'm really invested in finding out what's happening. At the moment, I still need to read book 6, which is The Eye of the Bedlam Bride, and book 7, which is This Inevitable Run. I do think we're getting a book 8 this year, so I would like to be caught up before that one comes out. The next book series that I would really like to this time finish is the Matthew Shardlake historical mystery books by C J Sansom. I think I started either last year or the year before. They are now in this later stage of the series very chunky. We are looking at 800 page plus books, and that has just been a bit intimidating for me, whereas the first 5 I think I flew through. I read them back to back and I had absolutely no problem. Even though they were long, I was fully invested. I think then because I took a break from it, going back in feels like it's quite intimidating, but I do only have 2 left, so I would like to do that again this year. I still have book 6, Lamentation, and book 7, which is Tomland. Another mystery series I want to catch up on, but a much lighter, cosy mystery series, is the Deputy Donut books by Ginger Bolton. I got book 8 as a NetGalley arc a couple of years ago without realising it was so far into an existing series, and I was gradually working my way through the series to catch up with it so I could review book 8. Last year I finally caught up with that and I have loved the series. I'm really glad that I invested the time in catching up rather than just going in on that book that I had. But it does mean that I have, in the space of catching up to that arc, the series has went way ahead of me. Now I have book 9, Blame the Beignets, and book 10, Sour Crime Donuts to read. The next series I want to continue with, but it's not one that I am hugely far through. I have no pretensions that I'm going to finish this series this year. But in 2024, I set myself a little mini goal of rereading all of Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicle books. Depending on how you count the Vampire Chronicles, there are either 13 or 15. And while I've read them all in the past, it was about 20 years ago. And I really thought I'd be able to read them maybe one a month and get through the entire series before the 3rd season of Interview with the Vampire came out. That was denial and lies and untruths, but I did read the first 4 going into 2025, and then I didn't read a single book in the series that entire year, so I am exactly where I was at this point last year. The book I would like to read, at least this one, at least keep making progress on the series, is book number 5, Memnock the Devil. If I happen to read more than that, I'll be really impressed with myself. I'd love still to finish the series again, but I definitely think it is a longer term goal rather than something I'll be attempting to achieve within the next year or the next couple of years. Next, I have the Astreiant series by Melissa Scott and Lisa A. Barnett. This is a series that originally came out in the 90s, and last year I bought all 5 of the books only to find out that there was a 6th book just being released. I read the first one, Point of Hopes, and had a really good time with it. So again, I don't intend on finishing the 4 or 5 books still to come, but I would like to at least keep making progress and not let the series slide off of my radar. A series that I really want to start is Rook and Rose by M.A. Carrick. The first book in the series, The Mask of Mirrors, has been on my TBR now for at least 2 years, and I don't know what is putting me off? It sounds like a book I'll really love. I've heard that this is a high fantasy book with queer characters and loads of politics. It should be exactly up my alley, but it is a little bit on the longer side, and I don't know whether that's what's putting me off, but I really want to get to it this year. I would at least like to be able to say that I made a start on the series and that The Mask of Mirrors specifically is the priority book here. Then I have The Twyfford Code by Janice Hallett. Janice Hallett is a British mystery writer who tells her stories entirely through the book equivalent of found footage. We have text messages, emails, letters, snippets from newspapers, that sort of thing. Hallett is an author that I found last year. I've now read 3 of her books and I think I've rated all of them 5 stars. I've had a fantastic time with them. So I really want to go back and fill the books that I've missed in her backlist. The Twyfford Code is the top priority, but if I get to that, I'd also maybe like to try The Examiner and potentially The Christmas Appeal towards the end of the year. Then I have a couple of priority books that are more to do with my goals I set in that goals video. I wanted to read a couple of authors that had always been on my radar that are considered exemplary in their genre and that I've just never got to. I wanted to give them a try. The first of these were Stephen King. He has such a broad range. I feel like I definitely want to pick up maybe one of his real horrors, one of his more crimey books. I'm not sure what ones I'm going for, but the priority book is Salem's Lot. The other author that I want to try this for, after going through the Goodreads nominations and seeing her get 3 books in the mystery thriller category, is Freida McFadden. Again, a name I've seen around a lot but never tried. And my goal with this is going to be to get as many Freida McFadden books as I can out of my library. I think I'll be able to manage somewhere between maybe 5 and 10. I'll go through them, narrow it down by reading maybe a couple of lines at a time, and then see where I end up. That means that I don't have a particular book that I'm putting as the priority read, but The Tenant here is one of the ones that came out last year and is probably quite a high contender. The next priority book is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Katherine Arden. This is a funny one. It came out in 2024. I have loved Katherine Arden's other books. I went to a signing for this one, it's where I picked it up, and I was really excited to read a new Katherine Arden book and completely forgot to take into account that I really have no interest in fiction that is set during World War I. It's a time period that I studied to death in school and I'm just not really interested in reading fiction about it anymore. The concept of this one does still sound interesting. It has a magical element and a nurse searching for her lost brother. So I would like to give it a go. But now that I know there's a new Katherine Addison coming out this year, which sounds more like something I would enjoy, this is now something I want to prioritise so that if I enjoy it, great, but if not, then I probably just want to unhaul it and get it off my TBR shelf because it's making me feel really guilty. The Crown Ends All by Bea Fitzgerald is another 2024 book that is on this priority list for no other reason than I have put it on TBRs about 6 times last year and I just really needed to get to it. Bea Fitzgerald has had another book come out in the time since I bought this one, A Beautiful Evil, and I really want to read this one so I can read that one and then be caught up on her Greek mythology retellings. Then to wrap us up, I have 4 books that came out last year in 2025. A couple were really highly anticipated books for me, a couple were ones where I found them due to all the hype on Booktube and they became really ones that I wanted to get to really soon and then didn't. So these are ones that I don't want them to run into next year. I want to read them this year. These are The Isle in the Silver Sea by Tasha Suri, The Everlasting by Alix E. Harrow, Mirage City by Lev A.C. Rosen, and The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. So those are the priority reads for me. As I said, there's a bit of a mix. Some of them are series I want to finish, some of them are series I want to start, some of them are wrapping up an author's back catalogue, and others are just books from last year that I still really want to get to before they go into that kind of backlist box in my head and become much less important. Let me know if you've read any of these, let me know which ones I should prioritise of the priorities, and let me know what your priority reads for 2026 are. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I would really appreciate if you could like it. If you're interested, subscribe to the channel and see how I get on with tackling these priority reads in the coming year. I really hope that I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye.